Hey everybody, we're here with Chef Sam, and he's going to go over some knife skills. Even I don't know this stuff. Knife skills and some terminologies that goes along with cutting. Like, don't chop your finger. That's one you should remember. He's going to be better at it. He's an expert. So you know what? I'm just going to turn all the time over to Chef Sam and have him do his thing.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Simply today, like you said, we're going to discuss knife skills as well as the terminology that goes off it. I've got several vegetables here that we're going to go ahead and cut up and use as demonstrations for that. First one we're going to talk about is an onion. We'll demonstrate julienne as well as a dice. This is a very common thing that most people dice every day or slice. So we're going to cut the bottom off, slice it in half. I'm simply going to remove this outer skin to it. Now it's important that you leave this root end on. That's your handle to hold on to while you're chopping your vegetables. So for a very simple medium dice, I'm just going to bisect this onion in half, going once, and I'm going to make a bunch of vertical cuts going all along it. Then I'll turn it sideways and just go across it. And you can increase the width of these cuts and the length to get various different size dice. Very simple to do, very efficient and fast. Now for a very simple julienne of this, I'm going to go ahead and cut off that root end, and we're just going to go ahead and slice our onion about about 1/8 of an inch thick, and that's about your basic julienne.
So, not to interrupt you or anything, but I keep hearing this julienne. What does julienne mean? Is that a person?
No, julienne is a type of cut. It's a French term. It means very thin. So on average, a typical julienne, you're looking about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch thick on it. So that's what you're looking on for a julienne.
Learn something new every day, guys.
So that's simply the onion. Next, we'll go ahead and cut the zucchini up. We're going to do this in what's called a bias. We will also do a couple matchsticks as well as a baton, which is a French for about a larger matchstick. So we're just going to remove both ends on this. I'm going to cut it in half. I'm going to cut it in half lengthwise. We're going to take this, I'm just going to cut it on an angle. That's all a bias simply means, is I'm just going to cut this so we have a nice elongated strip there. You can even do a double bias where we're cutting on 2 angles. We're going to cut on a second angle as well as a third one. So then you end up with a little bit different style of julienne on that one. Very simple. For this next one, we'll go ahead and make those matchsticks. So I'm just going to cut off a small part of it, make it so I have a nice flat base so my zucchini doesn't roll. I'm going to go ahead and cut this into thin slices. We can go from there. Cut these once again in half, and then cut these in about 1/8 inch size julienne, and there's about what would be called a matchstick. You can even take this and do a little bit longer and a thicker cut. For a quarter inch by quarter inch is what's called a baton. And that's what we would do for a zucchini.
So I would say the French got it right.
Yes.
I mean, we might as well speak French here, because that's what I'm learning, right?
Most of our language is based off French, Italian, Spanish,
Okay.
All of those Latin roots.
We're going to get there. We're going to get
Go ahead for this pepper. Gonna just cut the top and the bottom off of it. And cut one segment open. Now I'm just going to roll this in my hand over the knife and allow these to come right out.
Nice.
Just want to knock these seeds out best you can, and then simply we're just going to once again go ahead and cut this on a julienne bias.
Julienne means thin cut.
Thin cut, yes, and a bias means angle.
Bias means angle.
That's very simple on that.
How can you cut or dice or julienne baton? What, I know I'm messing it up. I'm just messing with you.
You're good.
How can I cut up an onion without crying? Is it possible?
It is possible. Big part of what it is it's a chemical that's being released when you do it. Rinse your onions will also help eliminate some of that. I know this is very hard for a lot of people to do, but if you can reverse your breathing, so you breathe in through your mouth and out through your nose, your sense or your sinus cavity is not going to be affected by those chemicals as much, so it's not going to affect you also.
So it's kind of like working out. You got to practice breathing.
Exactly. You practice proper breathing.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands. Wash your vegetables. And also, the more you do it, the more tolerance you will build up to the chemicals, so it won't affect you quite as much. So I know some people ask me, how you train your hands so you don't cut your fingers on it. This is a very easy thing to learn. It does take time, does take practice. First of all, when you're holding the knife, you want to grasp the actual blade with your forefinger and your thumb like that, and then grab the rest of the hand. This keeps it from pivoting too much in your hand.
Okay.
A lot of people like to do this or this. Knife can easily flip over in your hand, lose control of it.
I do that all the time.
So you can grab it right there and do that. And then when you're doing this, I'm simply going to put my fingers down and I'm just going to curl them forward. And then when I'm slicing, I don't know if you can see this, but this blade is riding my knuckle.
Got it.
So by doing this, as long as you're paying attention and you got your fingers curled, there's no way your fingers can get under there to be cut. As long as you fill that on there, you will always have the control of that knife.
So you've learned it here. There's no excuse why you should be cutting your fingers. There's no excuse why you couldn't be cutting your own food, making your own meals. Chef Sam has taught us how to do it without crying. Wash your vegetables, breathe, practice breathing, and you don't need to go out and buy this whole huge set of kitchen knives or chef knives or whatever you call them. Yep. Okay?
Yeah.
You don't have to buy all that stuff. Buy the simple stuff. Get it done. No excuses. Make it a good day.
Thank you.